As protests across the nation continue in response to the death of George Floyd, the Tri-Cities area sees its fifth night of peaceful protests. Thanks for choosing News Channel 11 at 6. I'm Sarah Diamond.
And I'm Josh Smith. Tonight, local leaders tell us that they hope that there's going to be peaceful gatherings, and they're hoping to build on the justice they say is already here in this community.
First happening now, a rally is underway in Founders Park in Johnson City, and that's where we find News Channel 11's Febin Casahoon.
Hey, Sarah and Josh, a crowd has gathered here in Founders Park. I'm going to step on the side for you to get a better look. So there is a peaceful rally for justice that is about to take place here at Founders Park in Johnson City. This following the death of George Floyd, who died in the hands of police officers in Minneapolis. Now, organizers say that the rally was sparked by the inaction of leaders across the nation, and local African-American leaders tell me that Johnson City is already heading in the right direction.
If we can sit down somehow and hear them say, this is what's in place for you, this is how we have your back, I'll be happy.
Johnson City Board of Education member Michelle Tree says she wants local leaders to walk hand in hand in the fight for justice.
The elected officials and the ministers in the area, the leaders, I really wanted them to come off those steps and join this group and just be there, because that's what the community needs to see, that you're with us and you see us.
Tree says Johnson City doesn't have the same issues as Minnesota, and she hopes the protests spark a discussion for local officials.
Do our officers have training on this kind of thing, if and ever we needed it? Are they trained? What kind of provision is made for people of color in this town to make sure they're fully part of this community?
Good Samaritan Ministries CEO Aaron Murphy agrees.
There needs to be more conversations. There needs to be more sit-down meetings and listening to one another. It hadn't even been 60 years since there was segregation here.
Town of Jonesboro Alderman Adam Dixon says he's grateful for how peaceful the protests have been.
Folks wanting to come together to say that they understand interracial cooperation and harmony.
He hopes the community can build on this.
Talk about such things as diversity training, to talk about such things as providing opportunities for the community to speak so that we can listen. How do we promote healing? How do we promote a new generation of servant leaders?
Now, the local NAACP president, Gene Neal, released a statement in regards to the Tri-Cities protests. He said, in part, we must keep our focus on redressing the systemic racism against our communities that led to this tragedy. Join the local NAACP to help bring out a change, and it is time for action instead of talk, she says, end quote. We will, of course, bring you live updates throughout this newscast, but for right now, live in Founders Park, Febin Casahoon, News Channel 11.